Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
A police officer assigned to the Prime Minister is shot after being ambushed by gunmen. Details on that story straight ahead.
The Education Minister dismisses calls for those sealed Baha Mar documents to be reviewed. That story straight ahead. The Baha Mar Claims Committee explains how unsecured creditors can apply to be made whole. That story straight ahead.
What Dr. Dwayne Sands has to say about a petition against Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner. That's coming up tonight on our news.
Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, a police officer attached to Prime Minister Perry Christie was shot multiple times outside a home off East Street last night in an incident which also left one of two gunmen in hospital under heavy police guard. It comes 3 years after Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis's aide was shot during a botched armed robbery. Our Jasmine Brown visited the scene today and has these details. Jasmine?
Thanks, Christina. Many of the residents we spoke to today were too afraid to appear on camera. However, they did call the shooting shocking. According to police reports, the officer pulled up outside the home around 11 last night when two gunmen approached him and shot him multiple times. The officer reportedly returned fire and shot one of the suspects while the other gunman fled on foot. Our news understands that the victim is Sergeant Brent Dixon, a police officer assigned to the Prime Minister. Dixon, seen here to the Prime Minister's right in the purple shirt, was reportedly visiting a woman who lives at the home. Sources say there is nothing to suggest Dixon was targeted. We visited that home where the shooting took place. However, the residents inside declined to comment, saying they did not want to get involved. One resident who was too afraid to appear on camera says he stumbled upon the crime scene as he headed home last night.
I was on my way home from work and turning to the corner I realized that I couldn't get through because the road was blocked with the police. And hearing some of the other neighbors that couldn't get in coming from work, they just stated that someone had gotten shot. Initially, they didn't know who it was.
The resident who has been living in this area for the past 30 years says while crime is not uncommon, the shooting was still shocking.
Definitely not used to it. It's a pretty quiet corner. You really don't hear much about it. The last two times it was in the news was with two shootings, but those individuals wasn't living in this area. They were just passing through.
Do you feel safe in your community?
Yeah, I do.
Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernandez says both Dixon and the suspect are in hospital, where they are both listed in stable condition. Fernandez adds that the suspect is under heavy police guard, and officers feel good about the progress of their investigation into this incident. It comes 3 years after Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis' aide was shot during a botched armed robbery in eastern New Providence. Days later, Davis declared that no one is safe from crime. Now, police are saying they have significant leads in the case. However, they're still asking for anyone with information to contact them at 911, 919, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown. Christina, back to you.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, the long-awaited details on the process through which Baha Mar's former employees and creditors can apply for their claims has been released. In a notice published today, the committee responsible for administering the claims of Baha Mar's unsecured creditors explains just what will happen. Dana Smith has the details.
According to the Claims Committee, unsecured creditors have until the end of the month to file their claims by completing a certain form. And as for Baha Mar's former employees, the committee will begin contacting them early this month and also hope to have that settled by month end.
The notice, dated September 5, 2016, seems to suggest there's no guarantee that each claim will be paid in full. It says the bank has made available certain funds to purchase and pay, whether in substantial part or in full, the claims from certain unsecured creditors of Baha Mar companies. In particular, those Bahamian creditors and employees who were made redundant last year when work on the resort stopped. Unsecured creditors must submit their claims by completing a form which can be downloaded from the website claimspv.net. However, that website won't be ready until Friday. Once the form is completed, it and any other supporting documents must be returned to the committee by email or by hand by September 30th. However, only creditors who are owed money by a Baha Mar company can apply. Those owed by China Construction America cannot. Please note, the committee says, you should only submit a claim and supporting documents if you are owed directly or as a subcontractor of a person who is owed directly by a Baha Mar company. For avoidance of doubt, this notice does not cover creditors of CCA Bahamas Limited. As for Baha Mar's thousands of former employees, the committee suggested they are a priority. The notice reads, as the first step, it is the committee's target to settle no later than September 30th, 2016, the claims of the Bahamian employees who were made redundant last year. To this end, the committee will contact such former employees of Baha Mar in early September 2016. The government announced the creation of the Claims Committee last week. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Meanwhile, Education Minister and Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald has dismissed Queen's Counsel Fred Smith's call for the opposition and other stakeholders in the Baha Mar matter to demand a judicial review in order for sealed documents to be disclosed. Fitzgerald says he doesn't understand the reasoning behind Smith's comments and asserted this matter does not involve members of the opposition. Simone Davis reports.
Well, I don't know under what standing anyone would have.
The recently signed agreement was sealed by the Supreme Court at the request of the parties, preventing public disclosure of the details. Smith told the Nassau Guardian yesterday that while he understands the motivation for a cabinet to come to an agreement to ensure Baha Mar is completed and opened, his criticisms are not against the development, but the process. Smith added that if the FNM wants the agreement, the party can apply for urgent release from the Supreme Court, asking for a judicial review.
While speaking with reporters outside Cabinet this morning, Fitzgerald said that he believes only those involved in the agreement should be allowed to view those documents.
The court has made an order. So, I'm not sure who has standing other than those parties who are involved.
Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said the Prime Minister signed an agreement on behalf of the Bahamian people and has an obligation to make the agreement public. Fitzgerald asserted that he doesn't understand Smith's argument.
I'm not sure what his point is, actually.
Prime Minister Perry Christie has said the court will unseal the Baha Mar documents if and when it sees fit. Reporting for Our News, I'm Simone Davis.
And Free National Movement Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands has labeled former Cabinet Minister Tennyson Wells a wannabe FNM and a mosquito that just won't go away. This after Wells submitted to the FNM Candidates Committee a letter that claims that several Long Island constituency generals refused to support MP Loretta Butler Turner if she secures the party's nomination for that area. Well, Sands came to the defense of his former running mate today. Giorgio Sturp reports.
Free National Movement Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands has had enough of former FNM MP Tennyson Wells. Sands said if Wells had anything to do with a petition against Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner, that just shows just how much of a political annoyance Wells truly is. The letter, which was submitted by Wells, lists 4 reasons why some residents reportedly say they will not support Butler Turner. They include the selection of delegates for Long Island for the FNM's July convention and Butler Turner's challenge against the party leader. Wells said he only acted as the middleman for the Long Island residents, whom he said are fed up with Butler Turner's representation. Sands said Wells needs to be quiet.
As the public is concerned about mosquitoes buzzing around and making noise, Tennyson Wells is like a rabid mosquito, just making noise, annoying and aggravating the public. And I think he should just sit small and be quiet.
Sands says the petition does not have the support of any FNM leaders or members. FNM Chairman Sidney Cawley added that the petition going around Long Island is not by the FNM and does not have the party's support.
This has nothing to do with the Free National Movement. This is Tennyson Wells. Tennyson Wells is a wannabe Free National Movement member. And I think that he has been advised by both the chairman and the leadership of the Free National Movement to sit small and go somewhere else. and be an aggravation to somebody else. But this has nothing to do with the official position of the Free National Movement, whether the leader, the leadership, or the chairman.
Sands asserted that if Wells wants to have a say in F&M business, he should put his name forward to run as a candidate.
He can go through with the petition. I don't believe that it will amount to a hill of beans. I believe that Loretta Butler Turner has exonerated herself well with good representation in Long Island. She has the support of the Free National Movement. She has the express support, as published in the newspapers, of the chairman of the party and of the leader of the party. I think that's as much as we need. Now, if Tennyson Wells would pay his dues and attempt to apply to become a member of the Free National Movement, and I'm not saying that he would be accepted as a member of the Free National Movement, then perhaps he can meddle in Free National Movement business.
Butler Turner did not wish to comment on the matter. Reporting for our News, I'm Georgia Stirrup.
Still to come on our News, the DNA leader addresses Greg Moss's comments on third parties. The Freedom of Information bill expected to be tabled in the House of Assembly next month, plus what teachers and students can do to prevent mosquito bites. That's coming up when our News returns.